What's up, y'all? Welcome to another review by Ryan. Happy Sunday. It is Sunday, August 28th, and I hope you all are doing well wherever you're at in the world. At the time you find this reaction, I've had a great weekend. In this reaction, we'll be reacting to the 9th episode of RWBY Ice Queendom. The title of today's episode is My Dream, Your Dream. Before I start the reaction, there are two things I want to talk about. One that has nothing to do with RWBY and another that does, and then we'll get into my pre-thoughts and the reaction itself. First, non-RWBY related, those of you that have been watching my notifications the last couple of days will see that there is a new show that surfaced just yesterday. I have decided to add Licorice Recoil, the original animation, through A1 Pictures that had no source material or anything to follow. The show that I never expected to be what it was going to end up being. I have decided to add it to my reactions for the duration of this season, and I do hope you guys will enjoy those reactions and check them out for the duration of the show's run. Now, back to RWBY Ice Queendom. Before I start my pre-talk, there's a apology that I want to extend, as I have recently learned some new information in regards to our newest character addition, Xian Ziden. So Xian Ziden is the new Nightmare character that is appearing specific to this adaptation of RWBY, as someone who is able to capture Grimm that have possessed people's dreams. In this entirety of my reaction to this show, I have referred to Xian as a female, and I have used her pronouns, and I have since learned that Xian is actually non-binary, and I do try to stay on top of those types of things and making sure I'm keeping up with all the pronouns, both for fictional and non-fictional individuals. So I did want to extend an apology to the community, as I have said her multiple times, and Xian is actually they and them, and goes by those types of pronouns, as they are a non-binary character meant to address inclusion, amongst other things, within the RWBY franchise. So I just wanted to extend my apologies about that. And now with that said, my thoughts about what we're getting ready to watch. So again, as the title says, My Dream, Your Dream. All of you who watched last week's episode is well aware that RWBY has also fallen to the Nightmare Grimm. And you know, this had actually been a fear for a number of episodes now, that each failure was probably really weighing heavily on RWBY. I feared that each time she failed that there might be some type of negative consequence coming to her. But of course, the most obvious thing I kind of overlooked, and that was the fact that she herself could be affected by a Grimm. My thing was, I thought she was going to be affected outside of another person's dream. I never thought that she would actually get infiltrated by a Nightmare Grimm with then another person's nightmare. So that changes the dynamic of everything. That means that everyone that is currently trying to rescue Weiss now, those who remain at least, which at this current moment is John, Blake, and Yang, they need to be careful too, making sure they keep their psychological states in check, because this Grimm could take over all of them and then they'll just all die within Weiss's dream. So it definitely has added an interesting dynamic to what has been a very interesting story about Weiss and her struggles with the Nightmare Grimm up to this point. So before I do start the episode, there is, one real key thing that I just want to address real quick, and that is, 9 episodes in now, do I feel that the show has delivered? Y'all have heard me talk a lot about the fact that I'm happy with the music, that I actually prefer this art more than I prefer the original art with the original animation. You've heard me say a lot more positives than negatives, and even when things have not looked the greatest with this show, I've tried to find positives in defending this show. But now I'm going to switch that off, and I'm going to switch on the critic phase. And the simple answer to, do I feel that this show has flawlessly delivered what it was trying to do? The answer is no. And the primary reason I think that is because they made too many assumptions that most of the people watching this would understand the bond that is shared between Team RWBY, and so it would be able to make sense to them why the girls are so sensitive to the things that Weiss may think of them as, and the actions that each of them individually is taking and then collectively are going to take even after we have dealt with the Nightmare Grim and hopefully rescued Weiss and now RWBY too. They took a lot of chances, believing that many of you who might have watched the first volume and then never watched anything more, that you for some reason would know and understand without it actually being shown on screen in this adaptation, just everything that you don't know. And I acknowledge now that I need to be a little more critical on that. I did say that they early on vocally stated that RWBY Ice Queendom was going to be in addition to the original story. And I defended that move, and in a way I still do, but I do believe that they've taken too many chances and assumptions that have now negatively affected this show. And as you can see on the screen, right now, RWBY Ice Queendom, it's finally fallen below 7. It had been holding out for a bit. I can't remember if in my last reaction I said it had fallen then, but RWBY Ice Queendom is now holding at a 6.92, and that kind of is a big statement to the slowly but surely loss of faith that both new watchers of the show and even those who have been watching this like myself since day one is starting to have, that the story will be able to knock it out of the park with this ending. I said that there is still I said early on that the show was almost a near 10. And while some people were upset with its initial presentation, I took what was already told to us at the early stages, that this was just an addition. I took that for face value, and I said, you know what? I really love what they're trying to do with this season. And I gave it a 9.5 out of 10. I said that the show started off incredibly strong. And last week, I think I went on record saying that the show is now no more than a 7. And to this current moment, I will say that the show kind of levitates between a 7 and a 7.5 for me personally. However, I do believe that it will probably end up settling at a 6.5 or a 7 when it is all said and done, because I really have started to realize, as I actually did rewatch each episode during the week just to make sure there wasn't anything specific I missed. And even though I've given a lot of accolades to the music and the animation being par for par, the same, if not a little better than the original RWBY, I have to acknowledge and admit that the story, unfortunately, and this has been a recurring theme with the RWBY franchise, the story is kind of all over the place. And because it doesn't really know what it truly wants to focus on, and they have a lot of great ideas, as we can see, but they don't really know which idea they want to fully execute. For older fans, it's a little easier for us to swallow because I understand the bond. But for newer fans, I mean, most of you are looking at this story and you're just like, I can't give this anything higher than a 5, because it's just, we know that there's supposed to be this great bond between Weiss and the girls, but what actually happened to lead up to them having such a grand attachment, and why are we risking our lives multiple times to try to rescue a girl that was just spouting a whole bunch of hatred and nonsense before she ended up falling ill to the grim? Because for y'all, it's just like, this just happened overnight, and all of a sudden everyone's all the best of bonds and the best of friendships. And I hear you, I acknowledge it, and I do have to acknowledge that it is a major flaw. It is absolutely a major flaw with the show right now. A flaw that is major enough that it has to be knocked at least 2 whole rating points just on those grounds. So that's really where I'm at right now. Now, I still am enjoying the show for what it is worth. And believe it or not, guys, I'm still enjoying the show slightly better than I did the original. However, that's a big change in my statement from before, where I said I was enjoying it tremendously better. Now, it's just slightly better. And if anything, I do believe that the show, even if you want to say its sole purpose was just to revitalize the RWBY community, I do believe this show has done that. And I believe that when it's all said and done, a lot of people will go back and watch the original again. So with that said, that's really my thoughts going into this. RWBY has now fallen into her own dream within Weiss's nightmare, and I really don't know where we go from here. I hope RWBY's okay. I hope Weiss is okay. I hope everyone's going to be okay, because this is a crappy situation now. But we're going to find out in this episode. So we're going to go put some eye drops in this right eye real quick, and then we'll go ahead and start on the episode. All right, guys, and I'm back, and we'll go ahead and start on the episode. Again, the title of the 9th episode is My Dream, Your Dream. Let's get this started in 3, 2, 1. Damn, and you can just see all the vines. The nightmare is well deep in her. And probably each time that she went into Weiss's dream, it probably manifested itself more and more. So this one could end up being at least as deep and entrenched as it is in Weiss. Oh. Yeah, but she never hated you, though. Mm, locked up. Oh, man. There it is. Uh, yo. This nightmare is so deeply entrenched in you both right now. Oh, boy. So was that the conscience that's trying to fight in Weiss's mind and she just temporarily intruded here? Or was that just Ruby's own vision? I would say it's more of Ruby's own vision. Just so many questions about what actually is transpiring now that there's a dream within the dream. How the hell did we get out of this? I tell you, if I was a standalone person and didn't know that they do continue well past this stage, I would not know how anyone lives through this. Like, thank goodness I have other knowledge. Dang, it's bad news. Oh, it's bad. It's bad. Yo, I gotta say, the little license is the best part of the show. Oh? Oh, he got her out of it! Oh, good job! Oh, good job! Thank goodness! Oh. Of course, because he has the resistance. Yo, you got lucky, girl. You. Oh, man. I have no idea how he got her out of that, but good stuff. Cool, we caught a lucky break. Because I had no idea how we were dealing with that. Yeah, and even in the volume that I stopped on, he still is truly only really learning about his powers, so. Whew, well, that's one crisis averted. Thank goodness for that. She did. Thank goodness we got her awake. However, yeah, this does bring us back to the question of how the hell are we getting Weiss out of this? Oh, we getting Mirror Mirror? Mirror. Oh, man. Oh, man. Damn. And that is how she always felt and has been. Dang. I do love the homage that we are playing back to the songs that really brought us to where we are. Mirror Mirror is such a beautiful song when it first came out, still is. Yeah, but thank goodness for John. He was able to get her out, so that's good at least. Oh. And more of the directional things pointing all over the place. Uh oh. Same. Also, let's not get any more relics destroyed because now we've already lost two. Yeah. I mean, that's how it is for all of us when it comes to wanting to go off emotion and judge one group for what one person or a few might have done. Yeah. We really need to come up with a different plan. Bro, we almost lost Ruby. Thank you very much. Like, gang, this plan's not working. Yo, let's just kill the bat while we at it. Just kill the sister while we at it. Nah, let's not do that. That might cause us more problems. I just thought about that. Might not be the greatest idea. This world is almost at its end. We literally don't have a lot of time left. In a way, I do agree that meeting up may be the smartest thing to do at this stage. Oh, because that is how Weiss portrays her. It is a possibility, but we still have to address the fact that every time we've gone up against her, with or without a relic, it has ended in failure and a relic destroyed. I don't think the girls would stay even if you told them to. Yeah, Pierre is a different circumstance, though. Oh. Bro, this is such a lonely and depressing scene right here. We still having meetings? Oh, we're gonna let her out? Oh, okay. Probably because she started moving now. Yeah. Yep. Making its own tracks now. Incredible. How these things happen, I don't know. But we're in a dream, so why ask questions? Absolutely. Hey. Let them know, Pyrrha, even though I know you're the drink Pyrrha, but still, let them know. Ah, bruh! Damn. See? And now Weiss has stopped things again. Great. Outstanding. You know, Weiss is like, I'm tired in the dream. I'm just tired. Infinitely tired. You wouldn't do it. You wouldn't do it. Hey. And I'm sure that y'all shots are just, oh, damn, never mind. They can shoot better than stormtroopers. Progress there. I was about to make a stormtrooper joke and they shut me up real quick. Ah, damn, that's right, I can get in the train now. You can't get trapped again, RWBY. What the hell? Is the dream breaking? What the heck? Oh! Oh, hell! Where they were at? Yep. That's neither Grim nor the White Fang. Hey! What's up, Yang? Hey! My girl come out looking badass! Hey! Yo. Really? That was the episode? Damn! Finally, look, literally, I've been waiting to really be excited. My girl come out like that, they done ripped a hole in the damn dream and everything, and it's over? Dang! I was ready! The whole next episode better just be fighting at this point. Just fighting. Like, oh man. Mare. Man, that was a quick 23 minutes. I felt like the episode had just got started. Mirror of Darkness. Hey! I love this illustration. My girl Blake came out like, yes, I'm about to clap that. Alright, so obviously I got very excited at the end. The last couple of minutes is honestly pretty damn good. Okay, so unraveling a little bit about how I feel about this episode and where we're probably going from here. So first off, I do not know how John got RWBY out of her dream, but thank goodness that she wasn't as tangled up in her dream, even remotely close as Weiss is. So that was a positive. We were able to relatively quickly resolve that for better or worse, but I guess it's good that we didn't have to battle that because, you know, I was just talking about the fact that the story is going in a lot of different ways, and being that it's been on shaky ground, especially through this entire middle section of the season, I don't know if it was putting a dream within a dream was another story element that we needed to fight and contend with. So I'm kind of glad we were able to resolve that and get RWBY out of that so we could return our focus to the subject at hand, which is Weiss and her ever bigger entrapment in her own nightmare, which at this point we have no idea how many minutes and hours is left before it's game over and Weiss is stuck there for good. We know one thing for a fact: there is not going to be another chance to beat Weiss now. The big fight is now underway. Yang and Blake have managed to find a way to break open a segment of the dream, and now Blake herself, and she has donned her outfit that I've really been looking forward to, seeing her in her White Fang attire there. So that was pretty exciting too. And now there's going to be a big showdown between Weiss and Blake. And so, you know, we know that this is it. If they don't succeed with this fight and this showdown now, they're not going to succeed. And the next time Weiss banishes them from this area, that will also be the end of not only Weiss, but it could also be the end of all of them. This is clearly, now that we saw that RWBY can be affected and that a dream can happen within another person's nightmare, it's clear as day that there is really no coming back from this. They will never be the same. Even if they're able to wake up, we have no idea what state everyone who's now in this dream will wake up from, which is one of the dangers and an interesting segment that I'm interested to see after we resolve this? What are the effects of being stuck in the dream for so long going to be? Because there have to be some lasting effects and consequences of having to go in this many times, both for the party members involved here and especially for Xion themselves, and having to keep using their powers to deal with this, even though that is their goal and that's their purpose, being at Beacon and everything at the end of the day. So a lot of interesting points there. Obviously, seeing the little Weisses continues to be a positive point of the episode, and it has been a positive point ever since the little Weisses first surfaced. I absolutely love the little Weisses, and I love their little acapella version of Mirror Mirror. So again, we've definitely had little snippets here and there throughout the season that have paid homage to the original songs and the original series, and that was another one, and that was quite enjoyable. And so, as if we can stick this landing of some sort now, if we can have a straight up, and the reason I say that I want the next episode just be all fighting at this point is because we've had so many different story points thrown at us now, and we clearly know, even people who don't know about the original to an extent, we know what the end game is now. Let's just get to fighting now. Let's see the animation back in work. I know some of you have complained a little bit, both in other channels that I post these reactions to, along with my online Discord, and through just various forums here and there. You've complained a bit that the animation has dropped, and I will say this is a common thing for a lot of shows. This show started off really strong, very different animation from what we are used to from RWBY, and normally when shows are talking story points, you'll see that there will be a cutback in the studio on animation just because of they're trying to save money. So I will acknowledge that there definitely was a noticeable cutback in certain layers of animation and visuals, and now it looks like we may be getting back to that. So I expect next episode to be a very well animated episode, at least I hope so, as we now get into the final showdown with Weiss versus everybody else. What I'd like to see from this point is for us to just stay consistent with Weiss's segment of the story to the end. Let's not add any more elements that are unnecessary. Let's not put anyone else in a dream now, because this is the 10th episode, and this is a 12 episode series. So we have 3 episodes left. There's no need to do any further complicating with the story, any new elements, anything in between. We don't need anything new at this point. We just need to take grasp of what has already been presented to us and end it on a good note. End it on a positive note for what has been a shaky ground with the story up to this point. So, again, another episode that I'll probably rewatch, and I'll talk a little bit more about things that I might have missed here and there. I do love, Mirror Mirror again, because it really does explain the loneliness that Weiss has always experienced through her life. As we watch through their stories in the original, obviously we have a little bit more to work with there, and understanding that, Weiss has always had a really crappy side of circumstances, similar to Blake, also a crappy side of circumstances when Blake inevitably made her decision to leave that set of circumstances and to leave Adam. And we just had a bit more in detail there, that if this story with the animation and the music and everything had bought a little bit more into, this would easily be an 8 out of 10 or an 8.5 out of 10 for me, because I'm happy with the other elements that have been presented. So, but we'll see how this story ends. We'll see what they end up showcasing. We could end up in a situation where Xion just flat out runs out of time, because it looks like that when Xion was showing, when we saw the hourglass, it looks like it was a little more than halfway down now. So time is definitely of the essence now, which is another reason I don't want them BSing trying to add any more story points or elements into what is already a complicated story now. Just stay to the fight and stay to the decisive conclusion of how we're going to deal with Weiss and what our path moving forward is. And as long as they can stay focused on that, I can definitely say that I will, at bare minimum, at bare minimum, I will still give the show a 7 when it's all said and done. So we'll definitely see how it plays out, but that is my reaction. Thank you so much for watching. I do hope you guys enjoyed the reaction. And if you're still watching RWBY's Queendom, I still hope you are finding enjoyment in the show to this stage. And RWBY's Queendom continues to be my least watched reaction. Both of the platforms that I primarily post at, especially on YouTube. Almost no one watches these on YouTube. But please, if you are watching it and you have any thoughts or dialogue, anything you want to correct me on, or, any mispronunciations, anything at all, please feel free. Comment section is open as long as you stay respectful. I have no care what you say. So please let me know how you're feeling. But if you did like the reaction to the episode, please like the video and consider subscribing to the channel. And if you want to be one of the first to be notified when a new reaction becomes available, hit the bell icon. So I will see all of you wonderful people next week for episode 10 of RWBY Ice Queendom. Until that time, catch you later.